Hi everybody, and welcome along to another market preview as we have a look at this market that goes ahead. It comes on the back of, for mine, a better market. We've seen a little bit of a continuation of the US dollar move. Oil inventories are falling and oil prices going up, and plenty to talk about in a week where the crypto stuff has again bobbled around and surged a bit on the weekend. The weekend Bitcoin surge is starting to become a little bit of a thing. Opening the show for us today will be Ash. We'll be having a look through a market overview from him. Ash, are you ready to go? You need a minute here.
Still need a minute. Yeah, I haven't received anything yet. Maybe now. Let's see.
Right, yeah, look, we're going to have some changes to the times today. We're going to start with Ash on market overview, then Ainslie on gold, and then Ash will do his key market data. Shukri's on crypto, Ainslie's on oil, and then Geoff's on the technicians, 2 cents worth today. No Lloyd today. He is at his sister's wedding, and we have got no Alexis today. She is away doing some fundamental stuff. So, sorry, she's away on a family thing. So, a few changes as we go through today compared to the normal timetable. Look at some for mine.
Should be all good.
Cheers, Ash. Look, Ash, I'm interested in your thoughts on the market, and particularly I'm interested in this. I feel as if every new strain of COVID is more dangerous than the last. It's more transmissible. It's more fatal, and the market's just not pricing in what happens if we get a variant here that is transmissible, fatal, and resilient to the vaccine. And while I think that's a slight risk, I just think the market's ignoring it. I think it's a real risk. It's not a strong risk, but it's a real risk. I think they're undervaluing it a bit. What do you think?
I think it's a very, very difficult thing to price in. I think that certainly when it comes down to the UK is hell bent on opening up. It doesn't look like anything is going to stop the UK opening up. And Boris Johnson keeps talking about people not needing to wear masks. So forget lockdown being lifted. There's lots of aspects of the life that we've been living which are effectively looking to go back to normal. And I think it's going to take something quite serious, really, really serious to actually reverse the decision, because the economic impact that we saw last year seems to be too broad and too big for governments to really want to reverse it. They will do everything in their power to go back to where we were. So,
did they tell you who they're going to open up to?
What do you mean? Who they're going to open up to?
So the UK is hell bent on opening up. Well, that's great. Opening up to who?
So the economy opens up. So the economy opens up. So the certain regulations that were put in place last year, pubs closing early, social distancing within pubs, things like that. All those kind of things will now be lifted. That's what they're looking to do. So you're not kind of getting the one in, one out system that you would we have been having in certain stores. Effectively going back to normal. I guess what you're touching on is air travel, and that will be something that will have to be kind of like country by country. But the regulations effectively that have been put on people over the last year. Nationally, that's the kind of thing that is certainly being talked about being lifted over here, and I think it's going to be a lot to curb that, and I guess that's why the market is ignoring it. That the market is ignoring now anything that's coming out about COVID is ignoring it, because if I'm honest, whenever I open up my newsfeed, I get completely conflicting reports. One newsfeed will say the vaccines that are out on the market are strong and they're resilient against all variants of COVID. And then you get another one, saying that this Delta variant is so dangerous that it's going to supersede anything else that we've had. So,
mate, 50,000 cases in the UK in the last 2 days, and they're just going to ignore it.
They do see. Yeah. I mean, this morning I opened up. There was another report of Boris Johnson's kind of, hailing this move out of lockdown. So they are going to ignore it. Of those 50,000 cases, I think there was 23 recorded deaths yesterday, and I think that's probably where the data starts to kind of get a bit confusing, because in that way, what is it that you kind of start to trust? There might be 50,000 cases, but as long as the NHS isn't under any pressure, the government is unlikely to do anything.
what percentage of the UK is vaccinated?
I think at least 50, more than 50% now.
So you guys must be not too far away from getting, herd immunity if it's such thing exists. Interesting.
That's the hope.
I certainly hope it goes well. It's 50% immunised is certainly globally a great rate, and that's really cool. But I think the market is just eyes blind to the possibility here this is going to get. I'm just having a look at some numbers for yesterday. Some numbers are good. 18,000 in the US, 47 in India. Not so bad, right? 65,000 cases in Brazil, 23 in Russia, 26,000 in the UK, 20,000 in Argentina, 28,000 in Colombia. These are, sorry, that day before yesterday. Actually, USA's done pretty well. It really has. Brazil looks like a sample still.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because last year when they were talking about these kinds of numbers, there was all out panic, and I think the market was panicking, business was panicking, the government was panicking. This year, those numbers seem to be tempered with, okay, don't worry about it, we got it under control. And maybe one of the aspects is it is obviously the main aspect is the vaccine. There was a really interesting report last week from one of the most notable political media commentators called Andrew Marr, who was double vaccinated in, I think, February. He went to a conference. He said he felt super powered. He felt like nothing was going to kind of get through. And within a week, he got COVID. So he was asking on the BBC, he was asking this scientific expert, how was I just unlucky? And the scientific expert said, well, you can still get COVID with the vaccine, but what we're hoping for with the vaccine is that it reduces the effects, and you won't get the hospitalisation, so we won't have the pressure on the NHS. And Andrew Marr said, well, it was bad. I almost did call the hospital and have to get to go in. So there's a fine line, I think, that's been played, but it seems they're more concerned about the pressure. They're not concerned about people getting COVID. They're concerned about how bad that particular strain of COVID is.
But I want to leave this here because I don't want to turn this into a COVID discussion. I want to turn this into a market discussion. And my concern is that I just think the markets are ignoring, and I think that they may yet regret that at some stage. But I think the chances are slim, but they're just not really pricing it in. What about the rest of the market? What's your view on the market right now, Ash?
Well, so let's go back to kind of like the big driver really in the market right now, and it was really inflation. It's the kind of is it secular inflation or is it this transitory inflation that we're kind of having to grapple with. And again, how's the market reacting may well be kind of different to any of our opinions about it. And currently, the way that the market is reacting is more probably towards that kind of transitionary inflation. They don't seem to be too worried about the inflation that's coming, or if it is secular, that it will be kind of handled in a way. And I want to bring up the dollar and a couple of these markets. So the dollar on Friday had the jobs numbers, and the jobs numbers suggested something quite benign. The big thing that most people are worried about is that the Fed don't actually raise interest rates in 2023. They raise interest rates in 2022, or maybe the start of 2023 instead. So these numbers are being very, very closely watched. And I was surprised how bullish Jerome Powell was about jobs. Effectively, jobs will take care of themselves. And so far, we're not really seeing the jobs numbers being so extreme that it would suggest that the Fed will be moving before 2023, at the end of 2023. So notable that we are where we are with the dollar. And the reason that we should look at this, and in conjunction with oil as well, and gold and bonds, is that it really starts to create what our worldview is. And the worldview for right now, and probably similar, it touches on what's going on with COVID. The worldview right now is business as usual. Business as usual until we see something really extreme. Yes, we know that assets are overvalued. We know that the stock market is overvalued, and at some point there will be some kind of turn. But really, the question is, if we start reacting now on any of these things, will we be early? And what we're really seeing with something like the dollar is that, you know, the chances are we will be reacting too early. WTI, another example, continues to push to the upside. And with WTI, there doesn't appear to be a choke of supply. OPEC were meeting over the last couple of days, and I think that meeting's due to kind of continue into Monday, because they just can't come up with a resolution. But there doesn't, at this point, there doesn't look like that they are going to be starting to play the supply into the market, and they're quite happy with how oil's going. So oil looks like it's going to continue on its trajectory. It's suggesting, you know, inflation in energy and things like that. The dollar seems to be in a little bit of just a little bit caged. So we know that the dollar's boosted. We know that people are starting to buy the dollar. No big suggestion they're coming in heavily yet. The stock market continues to just ease its way forward onto gold, just as another kind of a view of it. Gold is kind of, and I won't talk about the technical aspect of where we should be looking to buy or sell gold, but the point is that gold has stabilized at this level, and we, at this particular stage, we don't have any reason to back really what is the current trend in most of these markets. Stock market's up, gold really up on the longer term. The dollar, you know, has been sideways, so probably still back in that. And oil still going up. So I think the general view right now for the week ahead, I'm not talking about a few months to 6 months to a year ahead. The general view right now for the week ahead is probably business as usual. Let's stick with what direction has been unfolding.
Cheers, Ash. Thank you very much for it. Much appreciated. We'll come back to you to do some market data after we've had a chat about gold with Ainslie. Ainslie, you with us? Hey, Ainslie, you're mute. There you go.
I got a little bit trigger happy there.
Ainslie, the failed breakout on gold's a nice indicator of momentum, isn't it?
Look, I'm just going to kick poor Ash off there and grab my screen and share my screen. And hello, gold. Look, what a bit of a, and as Ash pointed out, we're consolidating around this point. It's just like, well, what a surprise. We talked about that last week, and we did some more. We had a failed breakout to the downside. All it did is go down and touched 1750. But looking for a nice little technical level, and if you want to be really spot on, it was 1750 and 58 cents, and then it bounced. And then we got a higher low here, and this nonsense around, and then we came back straight into the middle of this this consolidation box and waited for the numbers for NFP. And when we had this little run up to 1795, it did not crack 1800, and it's come back down, but it's sitting in here saying, okay, where to next? And if we look over here on the weekly chart, we're looking at this consolidation area, all looking very neat and tidy. I'm personally looking for a break above this level here. I want to see it to get to 1800. And one of the other things that I'm looking for, I'm sitting waiting patiently for out of this consolidation box, is because we're coming into a seasonal trend. There's a seasonal bias for gold, and I'm sitting here trying to be really, really, really patient, Paul, which, as you know, is not my strongest suit. But I have to be really patient to wait for the right setup in order to take advantage. If you remember last year, it was, let me just pop over to this weekly chart. Here's July, August. Look what happened in July, August last year. This is when we saw gold hit 2000 and, was it 2070 odd? Yeah. 78, I think it got to. But as you can see, if you look at your chart, July coming into August is your strong weeks coming into. That's what we're coming into now. So waiting for the best technical setup I can get once we break out of this little consolidation area, because, you know, we had this great big sell-off. Consolidation follows, as we know, but now I'm looking for my July, August run.
Yeah, like that. It's one of the things for mine. I personally whenever I'm not clear on a direction for some of these products, like what I call the inflation products, the products that just go up over time, gold, oil, indices, when I'm not sure on a direction, I favor long because the stock, that's what they know they're going to do. They're going to go long more often than they go short. That's what I look for. I do like failed breakouts in gold. That failed breakout on gold to me looks every bit. And on the 4-hour chart, even better, right? Failed breakout followed by a higher low, well on its way. And, you know, I do like the look of it. I'm with you, Ainslie. I think it's a buy. It's just a matter of when, right? And we think that the seasonal starts to kick in reasonably soon, don't we?
Yeah, so it's waiting, waiting, bit like my friend Shukri with consolidation. Welcome to my pain with consolidation, right? So
let's see if we can put it into a context for people at home, right? A huge part of trading is not wasting your money when the market's not doing what you want it to.
Oh, it's gambling.
It's waiting and taking your fingers off the button and going, well, when this is clear, I'll get involved, and until then, I'll wait. And look, if you're a forex trader, you know, as you hear, we're talking about 10 days. We've had 2 months in the forex markets, and there just isn't need in those situations. Look, you either wait or you donate, and if you donate, you've got to make it back before you're in profit. And there is a time. I know patience is annoying, and we all get frustrated with it, but truly, giving your money away is not the thing to do in these markets.
No, and it's so easy and it's so frustrating. You think if you're not in it, you're going to miss an opportunity. But it's taken me many bad trades, I would say, and a lot of time to actually work out if I am not careful with my setup, the market's quite happy, and somebody else on the other side of the trade is quite happy to take money off my hands. And it might be my good Scottish upbringing. I don't like giving money away when I don't need to, but it's just, you've got to wait. It's not every setup is perfect, but you try to get your highest and best probable setup before you go into the market. And it's all about risk management. As soon as you put your trade on, that is a risk. You're exposing your capital to risk.
A fascinating thing, you know, Ainslie, if you keep a bit of a, you know, for those that journal well, if you're prepared to go back in your journals and say to yourself, okay, well, what's the cost of being not patient? What's it cost me in the last months? What's it cost me to jump in trades I know I should have done? When you start writing that down, recording it in dollar terms, what it actually costs you physically, it is one of the best things for trading education in the world. And it's not for juniors, because for new traders, there's still a lot of learning from the whole experience. Once you get more serious about this and a bit more advanced, boy, that's a tough exercise. Ainslie, thank you very much for gold. We'll have you back in about 5 or 10 minutes to do oil. We are going to go next to Ash to the key market data on one market. Ash, back to you for the key data for the market data. Here we are, mate. That looks a lot like the COT data to me.
Yes, it absolutely is the COT data, and I think it's well worth staying with the gold story. I'm going to start with the dollar, because really, if we're trading gold, we are trading it against a cross. So we will look at it against the dollar. And before Friday's data was released, what we see is dollar buying weakening. Look at this. And the reason I want to point out the dollar is the most significant, you know, from what we saw with the commercial change last week, the percentage change, these are the longs. The longs were down 35%. So this also suggests that that long dollar trade has got some time before it's really going to establish itself and back to business as usual, looking at the longer term trends and what are the longer term trends saying. There are other currencies that I think are of interest, but what I like about gold is firstly where it sits on the charts. I think it's a buy zone. I think it's a really, really good buy zone, really lovely area to look for the long. But on the COT data, look at this, what's been going on over the last 18 months to the last 6 months. Just the commercials are starting to push the index higher. So we're just seeing the interest in gold starting to edge up on the near term. Now that may not transmit into the, something substantial and really long term, but as we're looking for the next week, maybe into the next month, then we want to focus on what this particular data and what this particular message is telling us, and it's telling us that that gold is getting some interest here. So that kind of puts some confidence in at the level, because as I said, the level's really, really significant, and the level's really key with gold right now, because it has had the big move to the downside for a few days. It's also had that message that you were talking about with Ainslie on the 4 hour, that potential false break to the downside. And this is kind of suggesting that we can start to look for those longs in gold for a period. Now let's look at the seasonals on both these and see if they back it up and see if they add to the confidence. So this is the dollar. And when we go up to have a look at what happens to the dollar during the month of July, this is July here, the start of July. We'll be probably looking around about this period here. And it suggests that the dollar probably peaks out around about, at some point that we've either seen or some point this week in July. And then it starts a fairly aggressive move to the downside, maybe one of the more aggressive moves to the downside that we see with the dollar. So weaker dollar right the way up, really until October, but definitely until August. So we could be looking at a weak dollar for the rest of this month, in accordance to the seasonals. And then we go back to comparing it to which pair we would cross it with. And we're talking about gold. So let's have a look at gold seasonals. Ainslie's touched on this, but here's the visual confirmation of this. This is July. And okay, it kind of bubbles along in August, but we can see that the overall move in gold is higher right away up until October. Now, when we looked at the dollar, we were looking at it kind of coming aggressively down in August, but still kind of unable to start picking up until October. What we see with gold is that it kind of edges higher during July, but it starts to get a lot more aggressive during the August to October period. So gold long versus the dollar at this particular stage is quite a strong message. That's what the message from the COT and the seasonals are telling us. And now we just need the kind of the technical reason to get into that. In my personal opinion, I think we are in a buy zone. So this particular product looks pretty good to me for the long.
Cheers, mate. I really agree with you, by the way. I think it's awesome, and thanks for that. Mate, if people want to catch you during the week, where do they catch you?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention. I am on the Trading Buddies show, and I trade with my good friend Geoff every day. And that starts at 5 to 8 in UK time, which would be 5 to 4. Is that right? I believe 5 to 4 in Sing.
5 to 3.
5 to 3. 5 to 3. Yeah, we'd be finished by 4. 5 to 3 every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You can find me on YouTube and just look for Trading Buddies, and you'll find me there with Geoff.
And if people want access to the COT and seasonal data, they just need to contact actionswealth.com, and the team will get back in touch. And what you're looking for with the seasonal chart is for the two lines, we're doing the same thing. When the blue line and the yellow line are both going up, that's a positive thing. Mate, I love the gold trade. That could be the tip of the month right now. I think it does look seasonally, COT data, everything. Doesn't mean tomorrow it's going to go through the roof, but it does mean that it's a time to look to start and create a position that you can build over time. This is potentially, if you get in now, it's a long-term trade. So we're going to get a little bit in there and add to that over the next period of time on some pullbacks. Cheers, mate.
Well, this is the great thing about this stuff is that the information is telling us that that there's a really good probability that this is going to work. And now we need to go to what technical setups we've learned, put our strategy in place. This is about having a bias. We've got our bias. Now we go back to our strategy, trade the strategy to the letter, and we've got a good chance of it working out in our favor as long as we're looking for the long.
It doesn't mean we go and make 10% on the wave right of gold on Monday. It just means we wait for the right opportunity, and we put 1% on, and we wait for an opportunity. We might add 1% of the past risk. Nice looking. Honestly, the lineup of the data looks really good here, and I'm interested to see how it unfolds over the next few weeks. And we will check in with you if you can remind us about this next Sunday night. I'll be keen to hear how progress on it is. Ash.
Great stuff.
Cheers, mate. Look, next in is Shukri. We've got Shukri on crypto before. We've got Ainslie on oil. Shukri, are you with us, mate?
Yes, I am. And we are waiting.
Mate, we are waiting, but what's this weekend surge in Bitcoin every weekend? What's that about? A couple of grand?
That is normal. You see, Paul, it is just following the Wyckoff accumulation pattern. So we already said last week, right? It's going to go up here, touch 37, almost to the dot. Was supposed to go down here, 34.5, and come back. And okay, went a little bit lower, but still here. So again, I'm not really interested in Bitcoin. I'm more waiting on Bitcoin. You have to know that middle of this month, July 17th to July 19th, the biggest Bitcoin unlock is coming from the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. But then remember, there's more bullish news. 21st, Elon Musk is meeting Jack Dorsey, who is a Bitcoin guy. And 28th is Tesla results. And we'd like to know if they held on to their Bitcoin or not. Of course, Tesla being diamond hands would help. But I'm bullish this week on something else, and that is called Cardano in a different way, because something has happened this week. So it's not that Cardano is going up. No, I'm not interested in that. I bought this at 178, okay? I am bullish. I will tell you why. I talked yesterday during the free wallets class about DeFi summer. But before we can have any summer, we have to know it's a spring. Are the gains of some of the altcoins holding? Well, formation has gone up 13 times. It is holding. That's good, because you have heard all the nightmares about IDOs, right? So now they're behaving. That's good. Look at the tokens that have gone up. Compound, isn't that a DeFi token? This is designing institutional DeFi. Uniswap, oh, this is more important. This is the token for exchanges, right? Decentralized exchanges. Celsius, this is also DeFi, borrowing. Synthetics, also DeFi, another exchange. So clearly something is going on, and it is going on because this week, what happened was in the ADA ecosystem is that Sunday Swap, which will probably be the Uniswap of ADA, announced that it was going to list. And the platform, guess what, is going to be CardStarter. And look at that, what happened to CardStarter.
Oh, mate. I bought that at $13, mate, so I'm pretty pissed with that.
Yeah, I know.
I'll tell you what, I checked cards about half an hour ago, and it was $15 or $17. So that's nice fun.
Big news, Paul. Big news, because the Uniswap of Cardano is going to use CardStarter to list. So we told you, right, in the private messages that this might go down to 13, worse is 10. Well, it went down to 9. But after that news, it just is going straight up. So this shows you that the interest is slowly coming back. And I think that's important. So ignore the Bitcoin and all that. I'm happy because of ADA. Now I can put ADA to work. You know why? Okay, if this is a good IDO and this is during this time, it will be like formation 10x. If we have a sign of spring, it will go 30 to 50x. If we go to the crazy one, it could be even 100x. So I'm happy for my ADA now.
Cool, mate. That sounds pretty cool, mate.
Yes.
Okay, let me. Sorry, mate. Come back to that chart. So, mate, you're talking about Cardano, but all of a sudden you're talking about ADA. What's ADA?
Yeah. Oh, it's the same. It's the same. Cardano, ADA. This is ADA. This is Cardano.
So you think Cardano could go some distance from here?
Yes, I think when these guys announce that this will be on Cardano or something, definitely it will go up because they know what Uniswap did. Everyone will want a piece of Sunday Swap. That's
Mate, is this a normal part of the process when we know cryptocurrency, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. My God, it's all over the place. But all of a sudden, we've seen the big fall down. It was a big fall down from 60-odd thousand to 30-odd thousand, and then little double bottom, and it hung around, and people have been really negative about it. All of a sudden, about 10 days ago, sentiment just went back. All of a sudden, I'm hearing positiveness from this guy, positiveness from that guy, positiveness. Is this what happens in crypto? Is it part of the pattern? Yeah,
it's very manipulated, and you even look at CardStarter. I think it can even go back to the old highs as long as it goes. It announces news that it is going to list the good tokens. And then there's a group. Paul, you said, right? Some of these launch pads are going to go down. They're finished. The good ones are gonna scale back.
Mate, is it an $84 high on CardStarter?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, nice, eh? Cool, mate. That's so interesting. If you can get the right ones, you're doing okay. And if you're on CrossPad, not so good, eh? It does balance up.
So my advice to people, while we are waiting, can we just change our portfolio and get rid of the not so good ones?
Mate, in the last couple of weeks, you and I have just dropped a name into our conversation 3 or 4 times. We turned up in your show last night and look, yesterday, your wallets class. This is the most private coin on the planet.
Yes,
they
it
turned
is.
up and gave you some coin. I had a bit of a chat with you. And
Yes.
look, the names behind them, I don't know what they use. Are these initials? Because the names behind them aren't even publicly known. But you and I have been tipping out privacy swap for a couple of weeks now. It was $10 a week ago, $15 today, isn't it?
$15, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's always what they are doing. Again, don't, when you talk about teams being anonymous, it's different from anonymous you don't know and you can't talk to them. It's different that, if you can talk to them, it's different because there's another anonymous team. It's a very good coin. It's called Thorchain Rune. But they talk to people, they communicate, and that is what is important. So you have to differentiate that.
That privacy swap Telegram chat, I'll often see 1,000 messages in a day. So they certainly respond and all that kind of stuff. They're really good at that. But just the people behind them aren't known, and they still came on your. I can't believe, mate, we managed to get the people who run privacy to turn up on your thing and talk even without a full name, because they don't do that at all. But that was awesome, man. It was unbelievable they could do that for you. And look, we'll continue to tip it out, won't we? We think privacy. What is it? Is it PBC?
PRV.
Yeah. Have a look at PRV if you're looking for a little crypto. And again, it's not financial advice.
Yeah.
Please don't bet your house on it. But if you're looking for a little something to play with, and then a couple of open, it's worth a look. Now, Shukri, where can our guys catch up with you over the next week or so?
Tomorrow at 7:45 and Wednesday at 8. So we will be following the privacy swap yield. Okay, as I said, guys, if you want to catch the crypto summer, you got to practice. We have already brought you something real in terms of privacy swap because the guy is there. That's the best we can do. So please use that to practice before the real DeFi summer starts, or you won't know what you're doing. That's all I have.
Mate, we're changing the name, aren't we? Crypto Moon is becoming Crypto News, isn't it?
Yes. And please, we're having wallets class every month, right?
First Sunday of every month for the wallet class. And look, every month there's different wallets and some different stuff.
Yes, correct. Like yesterday, we didn't even cover Cardano. Now you guys will be asking, hey, what if Sunday swap is hot next month? Well, that's why you have to come every month. Each class could be different. We introduce something new.
And Shukri, we gave away $50 worth.
$50.
Worth of BUSP.
Yeah, and the great thing is this: the guy that we gave to, I didn't know he was a noob. He was so new, and he succeeded in actually staking. So it's not that hard, guys. It really is not. If a noob can do it, you guys can do it too.
That's one of those things, isn't it, Shukri? It is that hard unless you've got some help. It's a bloody shambles. And when you've got some help and someone will go through it with you and show you, then it's bloody easier.
Yes.
I was talking to my mate Alistair today about my MetaMask wallet. He says, "Oh no, Paul, it's easy. See, do this, and this, no trouble at all." And I was like, when you know what to do, it is.
I know. But it's getting easier, Paul, because to do that, you can kind of do it automatically. But you're right. If you haven't heard of it before, you say, what in the world is happening?
Yeah, a great utility for new coin launch, wouldn't it? Genuine crypto help.
Yeah.
Finding a way to get genuine on-call crypto help is, if you wanted a utility for coin list, that wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, so it's good that the 3 people that we selected yesterday passed with flying colors, because we can see what they're doing, right, just by looking into their wallet. So I think that's good. So it really is not that hard, But
was one of them Fab?
No, wasn't. Seb. Another one was a new guy also. So I think it was great. So let's I don't know what wallet we're going to introduce in August. But if Card Starter and Sunday Swap is coming, then we'd have to introduce a Cardano wallet or ADA wallet, right?
Yeah, mate. It's one of the things, isn't it? That I don't, I understand that. We live and we work in this space, Shukri, and we understand. Great comment, Fab. We understand how it works, and the truth is that the average, I'm going to call them retail. I mean, the average client of ours is more educated than the average retail client. Well, they know what's going on, but human nature is to wait for it to happen. And what professionals do is prepare for it to happen. And right now is the time. If you think crypto may ever go back, right now is the time to be opening wallets. Getting yourself so you're on the Ethereum network, you're on the Binance network, so you can get to what you want to get, so you can buy. Because honestly,
guys, look at this.
Very, very quickly.
Yeah, DeFi. Do you need any more proof? Okay, this is NFTs, gaming, but DeFi. this is the Google of the crypto world. What evidence do you need?
DeFi means decentralized finance.
Yes.
These guys are paying yield.
Yes.
These are people who are giving you high returns.
Yes.
Take money with them. And
Yes.
it's not a bank. It's not a 5-year fixed term.
Yes.
It's not like you take it out when you want and they give you a return for it, right?
Yes. And for the next wallet class, you know what? We're going to pull, Paul, we're going to do it a little bit more higher, because now, as I told in the class, like what happened in DeFi Summer is this: you put the crypto in, you take the yield out, and you stake it in again. Like previous talk to you on Thursday, right?
Mate,
let's be degenerates now, okay? We're going to bring up another level higher next month.
I like it, mate. And we're talking about the first Sunday of August for that, which will be
correct.
the 1st of August.
Yeah.
The 1st of August. Mate, hopefully around there we'll be able to make some pretty big announcements for everybody as well. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Thanks for your time, Shukri. Really appreciate the chat as always on a Sunday. Let's get to oil and Ainslie. Ainslie, how you going?
Good. Just jotting down the 1st of August.
It's been, look, honestly, it's really interesting as I'm trying to sort of, I don't really have time to learn crypto properly, but just getting some help. And I've got wallets and this kind of stuff now, and I actually know the passwords, so I can actually get some of my money in some of them these days. It's really cool. But the difference between being supported in that journey and trying to find your own way, boy, oh boy, if you can find your own way in that journey, good luck to you, because it seems to me that every time you find a way, there's something that requires a different way. It is really weird. Now we talked about oil. We talked about gold earlier. We talked about consolidation, false breakout and move. No mucking around with the oil. Let's just keep on moving, hasn't it?
To a point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, to a point here. So let's have a little look here. We had all this consolidation, but we knew the OPEC Plus meeting was coming up on Thursday. So we were talking last week about, I think we will see it go to 75, which was this very sensitive level, 75, 76, 75. Yep. And then we thought it will squirrel around a bit because it is a level. It is 75 being a round number, well, a solid number, not a round number, sorry. And what we saw here was, if we just pop over to the 4-hourly chart, you can see it just took off. And what we saw there was the announcement. There was an announcement saying that they were very close to an agreement between Russia and Saudi about increasing the restrictions, like lifting the restrictions, but only by 500. They were expecting 500,000 barrels per day. Okay, so what they're expecting there is that it wasn't going to be a big lift in the rate of supply. It ran up to $76 and then it had a pullback. And then at the 11th hour, there was this little tinsy wincy tiny disagreement, and the agreement was off. So whilst they did agree to only lift supply by 400,000 barrels per day instead of the initial 500,000 barrels a day, i.e. keeping a bit of a chokehold on the supply, there was then this disagreement about, Saudi Arabia actually wants it more after the agreement. So the wheels came off there a little bit and price came back down again. So very unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. And look, I'm sure they're going to work things out because they have to move forward and just get a handle on things. But I'm still long on oil at the moment. It's just, even though we're talking about third waves, this Delta variant and all the rest of it, I was just reading earlier today about India is at 90% demand on their oil to 90% of pre-COVID levels because they've lifted restrictions. Unbelievably, I just read they've lifted restrictions, but people are back driving around and going back about their life as normal. And you just sort of think, this is a country that about a month ago was absolutely on its knees, but you got to move on, I guess. So this is where I think a lot of economies are trying to balance, as they say, trying to live with this disease, as opposed to shutting down and having sort of like an Australian attitude, which is zero tolerance of it. So hence we are still in lockdown. hopefully only for another week, but we are still in lockdown. So the demand for oil is slowly going back. We're seeing a lot of, and I'm hearing of a lot of fully vaccinated Americans are allowed to travel to Europe now as well. So if they're fully vaccinated, they're all okay. So you're starting to see the demand. Bear in mind, is it price? We were talking about whether the COVID third wave is going to be priced in. Well, you know, you go back 12, 18 months ago, America and Europe were the last ones to actually price in the real cost of COVID into anything, because they just believed it was more of a Southeast Asian issue, or as Trump used to call it, the China virus. However, that aside, we're still moving forward with oil. Production is still at a restricted level, and we've got demand on the other side starting to increase. So when demand doesn't equal supply, demand is greater than supply, we've got an increase in prices. Very simple equation. So we will see, I imagine, for it to keep going north.
So Ainsley, the plan is we're going to keep seeing it going up. We're around this 74.50, 74.70 level at the moment. We need to see a break above that before we really committed long, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And possibly have quite big news on Monday morning, because the OPEC stuff's still going on over the weekend, isn't it?
Sure is. They'll work it out. They'll work it out. I think they've, you know, there was disagreement, and, you know, they haven't, it's been a good 18 months since they've had their last disagreement. So, you know, it was due for one. You know, they've been playing very nicely up until now.
Which has been record by about 17 months.
So, you know, there was bound to be a spat somewhere along the line, wasn't there?
Yeah,
and
really
we've got one. But yeah, you can see how, you know, the market reacted the other night with it on, was it Thursday night, Wednesday night, I can't remember, where it just took off when they were just saying, oh, everybody's in agreement, and they're lifting the restrictions, but not as much as they thought. And then, yeah, and then that all fell over. And it's just, unfortunately, oil is that sensitive to that fundamental news that comes out all the time. It's just, you know, very, very touchy. But yeah, we're just going to have to sit and wait and see what comes this week. But yeah, between that 74 to 77 area, goes up, comes back, retests that 75 level, bang. And then I think we're heading towards that 85 would be the next one, on our way to 100. Let's see.
100 by the end of the year has been the core for a long time, hasn't it? Interesting for mine, Andrew. I always think of oil as being the sort of the best barometer on how things are in the world. You know, when the price of oil is going up, things have got to be okay. And when the price of oil is going down, things aren't that good. And you know, the markets continue again. I think they're not pricing in. Not that I think there's going to necessarily be one. Actually, I think that actually, I was going to talk about Ainslie. Scott Morrison's press conference on Thursday has just gone through. You know, that was some big stuff he's talked about. They're going to follow the Singapore model. They're going to live with it. They're going to vaccinate. No more lockdowns. Freedom for everybody. That's where we're going. You know, I like the sentiment. I'm still concerned that it only takes one variant that's resistant to the vaccine, and we're back locking our houses. But boy, it was a pretty big statement from him.
He had to do something. His lack of leadership has been underwhelming. The vaccine rollout, he had one job really in the last 18 months, which was to roll out the vaccine, and they just couldn't do it. It's just appalling.
You're about 25% of the population ahead of New Zealand, and our Prime Minister is still the #1 ranked politician in the world. Don't know, you know, you're doing a bad job, but honestly, we have the lowest vaccine rollout in the world in New Zealand, and the OECD in New Zealand. Literally, we haven't even got our oldies vaccinated yet here, and still, you know, untouchable in the polls, our Prime Minister. And how? Well, you know, I'll tell you how, Angie, quickly. We have him from Sydney with the Delta variant come to New Zealand, infect their partner, go to a museum with 2,500 other people, and not one local catches it. And there's no local transmission, and that kind of luck continues to be the plan for New Zealand.
It is luck.
It is luck. It is nothing but.
That is luck, because people are catching it just from walking past each other at the moment up at Bondi Westfield, around the corner.
That is our strategy. By the way, I like Bondi Westfield. Good old place, like that part of town. Well, thank you for your oil. We won't go through the the shopping malls of Australia as a topic at this stage as much as I'd like to. As we'll move on to Geoff and get into some Tasmanian.
Hey guys, I'm getting vaccinated on Tuesday.
Yay!
Congratulations, Shukri. I'm pleased you're getting vaccinated on Tuesday. I think next week New Zealand's going to vaccinate one person as well.
See you guys.
There you guys. Cheers, Geoff. Let's have a Tasmanian point on the technicians' day. The technicians' 2 cents worth from the Tasmanian Devil. How are you, buddy?
Mate, I'm good. A lot better than a lot of people, I guess. And we're fairly free and easy here in Tasmania because we've locked down in terms of shutting the borders. But like you and Ainslie have just discussed, the vaccination rate is very poor. I'm only halfway there, have been for 3 or 4 weeks, but I've got a few weeks to go, and I can't wait for that to happen, frankly. And I just don't get the anti-vaxxers, and I certainly don't get the lack of a rollout in Australia, but I'm not a social commentator. Mate, I do my best work looking at charts, mate, I think.
Oh, man, I tend to agree with all of that, Geoff. I mean, techniques is what we do, and well, we all have an opinion on this stuff, but we're not experts. But yeah, I'm pleased you're going to get the second vaccine soon. And yeah, the anti-vaxxer thing, look, I just think the world's going in a direction. I hope it is where, we all have the choice reasonably soon. You get vaccinated or you take the risk. And that, while I think there's some real concerns about a version of COVID-19 that beats the vaccine, that'll devastate this planet for human beings. Will, completely change everything in a matter of weeks. But other than that, I like what Scott Morrison's saying. Let's get everybody vaccinated. That's what Boris is saying. Let's get everybody vaccinated. Let's get on with our lives. The Singaporeans did away with this a few weeks ago, and to be honest, I'm with them. Let's get everybody vaccinated. And if you don't want to get vaccinated, that's fine. But your choice is get vaccinated or US COVID-19. And look, if you're 20
roll the dice.
Take a choice, right? As long as I'm vaccinated, you can't give it to me, really. So it's like it's your choice, right? But let's not have some vaccinated, some not vaccinated, and the border's closed to everything. But again, it's only the rant of a couple of traders, old fellas chatting, Geoff. It's not. We're not experts. What about charts, Geoff? Been a good week for you, hasn't it?
Grumpy old men.
Grumpy old men in lockdown.
Yeah, look, there's no lockdown in Tassie. Hasn't been forever, pretty much, and pretty pleased about that. But the charts have been fairly, I don't know, predictable, but they've been talking. So, and that's a good thing. If they're talking to you, you've got a chance. And they have been talking to us lately, and I'm very pleased about that. I'm hoping that will be the case, of course, again this week. I'm going to start with, I guess, the way I've been doing things from a Sunday point of view. And I think the Sunday show is very valuable for that reason, because it gives me a very good look into the week ahead and what my plan will be. In this case, I'm looking at Euro Pound, and Euro Pound, if you look at that chart in isolation, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 indecisive candles. I certainly see that, but I also see this big red line here. And to me, it's a clear line in the sand. And I see a potential false break of that with this big bar that we saw back in March. And for the life of me, I can't remember what instigated that. But since then, we've just danced around this level. We came back to it, and then we've ducked underneath it. And for the last 6 weeks or so, we've been steadily building a position that just can't get back above there. And I think the last bar that we got this last week just gone is very, very clear to me. It is a reversal bar, a key reversal bar, in my humble opinion, that is leading us to think we're going back to the bottom of this range. This range, of course, being the descending channel. Now, you could choose to trade that if you wished. I think that's probably there, but the daily chart is very, very ordinary, I've got to say. And I don't see a way in there on the daily chart. So you could trade the weekly by going underneath that bar, put your stop loss above it. The monthly pivot is new, and I'm not sure where that is, frankly, but it will maybe come into play. It may not. I would be looking at trading that bar. Of course, this is all caveated by if there is no big gap in the market tomorrow. I don't know if there will be. I don't know what the news is over the weekend, frankly. But to me, this is the line in the sand. And I think trading this short back down to the bottom of the range, maybe where there's a confluence with the bar that set this off, would make sense to me. So if you can have a look at that one, Euro pound, I think it is eminently trade worthy. Euro Swissy is not dissimilar, but it is a little bit on the differing side. What we have here is again that, well, there was a big burst here back in May rather of 2020. We spent a year underneath that level until February 21, not quite a year. Then we burst through again and came to this support level, this former support level. And since then, we've gone into trend and we've trended short since that moment. The interesting part that ceased that trend, to my mind, was this move back in February 2020. Sorry, that's not true. What I'm looking at here is this bar here 2 weeks ago. And you'll recall that 2 weeks ago we had that momentous thing called the FOMC, or the Fed statement, which threw the market into a little bit of turmoil. What it didn't do, in my humble opinion, from a technical perspective, is it didn't change anything in terms of trend. So we're still getting lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, potential lower high there last week. Now, we've been trading this Euro Swissy both up and down. And we're now out of the long that we placed a couple of weeks, or last week, was it last week? Maybe in the week before. I now see this as a clear break below that former rectangle or box, if you want. Interesting now that it's also come underneath that trade line. It's tried and tried and tried, can't go high, can't go short. I think this is clearly an opportunity for us to get short, but not underneath that candle. We need to see a retracement here. So I'll be looking for a retracement on either Monday, Tuesday, maybe even back to the pivots, wherever they may be. And then I'll be looking to potentially trade this short. You might get tomorrow a bullish decisive bar. If that's the case, then I think that's worthy of a trade underneath that bar. In particular, if it's an inside bar, that would be good. So that's Euro Swissy. Now I'm going on to two more pairs, Swissy yen and pound Swissy. This seems to be all about risk on currencies or risk off currencies and the safe haven currencies. This is one versus the other, Swissy versus the yen. And we had a big bearish engulfing bar, again, Fed motivated, I believe, or Fed driven. Then we got this response from the market, which didn't engulf the candle, of course. And this has been the funny thing, hasn't it, really? Has the Fed really moved the market into trend, or has it not? And we really haven't got a decision on that yet. Have we gone into trend? Have we reversed what was there? I still think we don't know. But what we do know is that this key level here, and it's a corker. If you follow that through, it's been strong resistance all the way, and then it finally broke, and then it's become a retest of that level. I think this has got every right to go further than it has, and for that reason, not alone, but we've had a key reversal bar on 2 weeks ago, and now we've had another key reversal bar the week before last, and now we've had an inside bar on the back of all that. The problem I've got here is that we're trading straight into the new monthly pivot, or is that the old monthly pivot? That's a good question. Anyway, the new monthly pivot's not far away from there. So that's going to be the issue. What I'd really like to see is the monthly pivot get broken and retested, or price run back down here. Maybe in here somewhere is a nice little double bottom scenario, and we can get something in the bank before we hit that new monthly pivot. Or, as I said before, break it, retest it, then we look to go long. I think that's an excellent candle scenario on the back of that big break and retest of that horizontal level that we've seen. Pound Swissy, quite the reverse, frankly. And what I see here, if we go to the monthly chart, you can see again, the longer term is not long. In this case, we're getting lower highs and lower lows. It's been a little bit disrupted by the recent rally that we've seen, well, the 2021 rally, let's put it that way. And now we've come back down and underneath that, I'll call it a trade line because it's not really a trend line. And now that we're back underneath that, we're getting a rejection of that level again. We're at the top of this range. So we've had rejection of the top of that range. We were to close underneath the monthly pivot. I think this is excellent range trade. And I think you can find an entry in here, any entry in here somewhere off those pivots looks good to me. Not sure that's the right candle for me on a daily chart. And of course, I want to see if there's going to be a gap in the market in the morning. If there's not, and we do get a lower high in here somewhere, then I think this is an excellent opportunity to trade this short. Of course, you want to be taking profit before the lows. Who knows what happens after that, frankly, but it does look as though there's a big level down here that's beckoning price, and that's around about, 600 pips away from where we are now. So if you can get into that, then I think that's very much worthy of our attention. It is a key reversal bar followed by an inside bar. So I will, providing there is no gap in the market in the morning, I will go short underneath the last week's bar, and I'll put my stop loss above it. So that is me for this week. Of course, you can catch up with me every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in Trading Buddies, and that's at 5 to 3 Singapore, Hong Kong time. And of course, I'll be back next Sunday with exactly the same scenario as I've given you today, where we look at the weekly charts and see what we can trade in the week ahead. So that for this week is my 2 cents worth.
Cheers, Geoff. Thanks for that. Appreciate the chat at the start, too, mate. It was nice to have a chat, and always interesting to have a look at your weekly charts, mate. You're back at 5 to 3 p.m. Singapore, Monday to Thursday, right, for Trading Buddies?
You bet. Cheers,
mate. We will catch up with you then. Thank you very much for that. And thanks to the rest of you guys for joining us this week. We are going to... We're going to call it a night for tonight. We'll be back next week. A couple more of the team hopefully back with us next week. A little bit less going on socially for the group, hopefully. Do a good trading week, and remember to stay calm and make good decisions. And if you do that, everything will work out for itself in the end. Take care. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody. See you all.